My name is Christopher Reibold, and I'm also known as the Saint Story Guy. I do some freelance writing. I do a lot of live storytelling, mostly about the saints at parishes, schools, and retreats, Catholic events, that sort of thing. I was raised in what I would describe as a nominally Catholic home. We went to Mass. I did CCD, 2 or 3 years of parochial schools, but not well catechized, not well formed, not devout. At 13, I declined to make my confirmation. It seemed self-evident to me that virgin births and people rising from the dead were the stuff of folklore and fairy tale. I had a lot of questions. I didn't get good answers. By the time I was 16 or 17, I'd left the church. I was away for 30 years. Now, I bounced around. There were some brief periods of time in there where I checked out some Protestant churches and times when I would have said I was an atheist. But really, I was just living a secular life. I had a business career for 25 years, and it was stressful. I worked on distressed real estate projects, so the financial crisis really hit me hard. By 2012, it was 4.5, 5 years of 60, 70, 80-hour work weeks, traveling, lawsuits, death threats, and it was, I'd reached a point where I was burned out. But I also had, and I can really see this in hindsight, a kind of nagging sense that I was in the wrong place, that there was something I was meant to be doing and this wasn't it. And with the passage of time, that just grew more and more acute, until finally I just felt like I had to do something. I had an opportunity to do some creative writing. I wanted to get back to Pennsylvania to help take care of my mom. And so at the end of 2012, I left my business career and came back here. I started to work on a screenplay with a screenwriter who was mentoring me at the time. And it was a secular project, but I found that when I got away from the stressful environment of my job and I got back to a place where there were people who cared about me, I couldn't write the kind of material that my partner and others were looking for. And so I tried some writing exercises, some stream of consciousness writing. I had read Ray Bradbury's little book, Zen and the Art of Writing, where he claimed that anything he wrote that was ever any good was something that he just wrote without any premeditation. And I found myself, when I did that, I found myself writing about the saints. I wrote a story about St. Patrick. I wrote a story about St. Lawrence of Rome. And, they're not necessarily great stories, but it was shocking to me that this was the thing that would well up from my unconscious. I remember at one point looking at the books on my bookshelf, and there were all the science fiction books and the kind of geeky guy stuff that I expected to be there, but there were lots of books on the saints. And as I reflected on it, there were many more that weren't on the shelf that I had read. And I realized that somehow, although I was living a completely secular life, religion wasn't really important to me, at least not in a conscious way. The saints had always been there. They'd always been part of my reading. They'd always been important to me, and that was kind of shocking. That kind of made me take a step back. It was shortly after that I went back to Mass, and I kept going until the fall when I enrolled in the RCIA program, and that was fall 2013. I was confirmed at Easter 2014.